So welcome to this episode of Spill Your Beans. It's an honor to have a special guest, the Persian warrior they call him, Sabah Fadai. He's a local athlete out of Chilliwack. Thank you, Sabah, for coming out with your busy schedule and all that. So,
thank you, Coach, for having me. You're my coach.
So first up, Sabah, let's talk about your career. Where are you now in your career? How about your accomplishments and what you have done lately, and if you have any recent fights coming up?
Well, I started a long time ago. I've been in the sport for about 10 years now. I had my first fight in 2007. I've reached all the way to being ranked third in Canada in my weight class. I've fought all around the world, Singapore, Philippines. I've just been having a lot of fun with the sport so far.
You were a title holder, weren't you, at 145?
Yeah.
As a unified fighting championship out of Alberta?
Yeah, 145 and 155. There's an organization called Unified MMA in out of Edmonton. I snatched their 45-pound weight from one of their local superstars.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was fun. And I got the 55-pound weight class championship belt in Singapore, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, we have a world champion on the show. That's a great thing, and there's a lot of stories we're going to share today. So first off, let's talk about how'd you get into MMA? I mean, everybody has a story, right? Like sometimes people got beat up, they decide to take that path. What was it for you that drew you to MMA?
Well, I never got beat up. I only got beat up once I started doing MMA. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
Actually, I was always in sports. I was in basketball, soccer, volleyball, badminton, you name it, and I did it. I did everything. I did everything.
Yeah.
Right, and then I moved away to Kamloops for university at Thompson River University and studied my Bachelor's of Science there, and I just wanted to do something different. My dad kept telling me, Sabah, be sure that you do some sort of sport activity, right? Just to get your mind off school, kind of be whole, right? Get your excess energy out. So I was like, yeah, I'll just go punch a bag or something and start some kickboxing classes. So I started some kickboxing classes and I just absolutely fell in love after the first sparring session. There's no feeling like punching somebody in the face, and there's no other feeling like getting punched in the face. So after that, I was like, all right, screw basketball, all that other stuff. I'm just boxing. And then I met a guy named Randeep Johal. I think he lives in Surrey now. Anyways, we became really tight, and he started coaching me through some Muay Thai drills. And this is like way back. Like we were learning off of cassettes.
Yes.
Right? Like the old Pride days, Pride FC. We used to buy their VHS or DVDs or whatever. I think DVDs were starting to get introduced. And we just take them and view them so many times. But now you got YouTube, so. But we used to review all these videos, and then we started doing our own jiu-jitsu classes, and we sucked. But we started doing it, and we had like 8 pieces of puzzle mats on the ground, and we're just rolling off onto concrete and hurting our knees, and listening to, for a striking class, we were listening to Boss Rutan's striking system, where you have it in a cassette, right? Yeah. And you have it on full blast, and Boss Rutan's in the room with you, and he screams out, 1,
the basic
2,
1, 2,
liver shot. He loves his liver shot. So that's how we learned, and then started doing local tournaments. I actually did just one tournament in it's called the Tiger Bomb tournament in
is that the one that happened in Burnaby, or is that the...
They actually happen in multiple places now. Happens at BCIT in Burnaby. It also happens at Capilano College. But anyways, yeah, it was like a 16-man tournament, and I got bronze.
So that was a big moment for you, I guess.
Well,
6 months of training, and then you got bronze.
I went in the freaking newspaper in Kamloops. I had a bronze medal. I'm like, fuck, bronze sucks. right? But anyways, I got put in the newspaper in Kamloops for having a bronze medal, and kind of felt cool. So I moved back to Chilliwack, and I continued my studies at UFV, and then I started training at Revolution Fight Team.
Yes.
It was the first big MMA gym in Chilliwack, and so I started training there. And 6 months later, I had my first pro fight.
Your parents wanted you to join a sport, right?
Yeah.
So to keep your mind off of things.
Yeah, they never said what sport.
Yeah. So
That's their
how
fault.
did it feel about you joining MMA? I mean, that's a big thing, right? You're putting your life on the line. You're getting punched in the face. For every parent or even a mom would be just like, I don't want to see this.
No.
So are they very supportive, or they're just like, well, we told you to join a sport, but we didn't know it was going to be mixed martial arts. So
Yeah.
did they gonna go against that? How did that work out
Well,
for you?
Come on, no parents ever want to see their. They say, "Oh yeah, son, go ahead, get punched in the face." No, it's never like that, right? When they first heard that I have a fight happening, they were like, "Fight? What do you mean?" I mean, I used to get in trouble in school all the time, right?
Mhm.
So they were already tired of me hearing about me fighting. Principal of the school calling, Sabah suspended again for fighting. And that was a whole different story because I had to kind of stand up for myself. But when I actually started fighting, they were like, I don't know. But they never said what sport to take. They never thought I was going to get into MMA. I never thought I was going to get into MMA.
Yes.
Right? I just started kickboxing and I just fell in love with it. And actually, my mom and dad came to my first fight in Chilliwack, and they never came again.
That's it.
That was it. But of course they were never supportive
Mhm.
until like recent, right?
Yeah.
Probably 8 years after my first pro fight.
Mhm.
They're like, okay, well maybe this is really what he wants to do, so let's just show him some support.
Well, there's a story behind it. Like, I mean, your parents come from, is it Iran?
Iran.
That's right. So you guys came from Iran
Yeah.
to Canada. Tell me a bit more about how that happened, like what the transition. I mean, there's a huge. I know you were in a UFC Tough one time, right? That I remember you sharing that with me. That when you went try out for the Tough show,
Yeah.
right? And then the story came out. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So I know there's a lot of emotion attached to the story, and
yeah.
if you don't mind
Well,
sharing.
no, but we're spilling beans. Right?
Yeah, that's where we're here.
We're gonna talk about it. Well, how we got to Canada was we escaped. We escaped through the border, through the mountains, into Turkey, into a very small village in Turkey, and we stayed in Turkey for about a year, and I mean, try selling every single piece of utensil even in your house. You give up your whole entire. That's what my parents did. They gave up every single thing. They sold everything, and they had to do it sneaky. Like they couldn't tell everybody, yeah, we're selling everything because we're like collecting money so we can escape this country. They couldn't do that, right? What they had to do was like behind everybody's back, start selling the mugs, the cups, the rugs, the couches, the TV. I think we had like a black and white TV, but they sold everything slowly. They collected all the money, and like we didn't even know what was going on.
Because how old
Me
were
and my
you?
brother, I was like 7 or 8, and my brother was 9 or something, and then they just stuck us in a Jeep. It was us and like maybe 2 other families, and then they drove us about an hour into the mountains, and then we had to get out. And basically the rest of the way was just up to us. And they got patrolmen guarding their borders in Turkey, of course, but we had our own gunmen. We had our own horsemen with like heavy duty guns and all this like equipment on them. The women in our group, along with our luggages, were on horsebacks, or women were on top, like riding horses, and the men and the kids, they're just walking, and we just went over mountains and over mountains. And at the very beginning, when we first got dropped off, there was a guard, there was a patrolman on top of the mountain, and you could see his silhouette because it was so dark, right? You could see his silhouette and he's sitting on a horse, and he's kind of looking around, and our guys basically told us to like lay low, and we literally had to cuddle up in a ball. And at this point, I'm like 6 years old, 7 years old, right? And we've just come up this bumpy road, and I got motion sickness, so I'm throwing up. My mom is covering my mouth so I don't make too much noise, because had I given away our position, I guess, then it would have been like a gun battle between our guys and their guys. So anyway, so we had to lay down like a bunch of rocks. We made our way into the mountains, and then we hung out with the Kurds in the mountains. Anyways, and we got into Turkey finally. And yeah, my parents sacrificed a lot to get us to Canada so we can have a better life. And the funny thing is, my father-in-law asked me, well, what would you have been doing if you were in Iran still? I said, probably selling watermelon on the side of the street. Yeah, so we're Baha'is, right? And my parents are Baha'is, and Iran is an Islamic country. So if you're not Muslim, you can't go to school, you can't have like a government job, high paying job. Women, of course, they can't work. It's bad for us. Like a lot of my family members, my grandfather got in prison for 5 years because he was Baha'i, because he didn't believe in Islam. And he came out blind. So like my mom and dad were involved in, of course, in the Baha'i community, in their faith, what they believe in, and they were probably going to be next. All you had to do was make one signature that you're a Muslim, and then it's all good. You can go get all the education that you want, and that's all they wanted. And the Baha'is are, I guess, religious people in general are very stubborn in their faith and their beliefs, so they just they said, no, well, we can't do that. So in school, we're getting our heads like smashed into like blackboards, and I didn't do my schoolwork, so the guy took my shoes off, took my socks off, and beat my feet for so long. It was like bleeding. I couldn't walk for a couple of days, and so my parents were just like, enough is enough, right? And so yeah, anyways, so we started escaping. So that's what we're escaping. We're escaping basically prosecution, right? Like we didn't want to die. My parents didn't want to die. They just basically wanted better education, better life for me and my brother. And so here we are escaping through the mountains, and I mean, at this point, me and my brother, we talked about it, and we didn't think much of it. We thought it was kind of fun. We're climbing mountains.
Yeah.
At one point, actually, me and my brother had like a little race. That's the competitive edge. Climbing this one mountain, and we both grabbed this one bush. We thought it was a rock because it was dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
We thought it was a rock, but it happened to be a cactus. So we had like pricks in our hands. So anyways, we had to wait until it was daytime again when we were with the Kurds. And then we had the Kurds and my mom and everybody picking out pricks from our hands. My parents, had they been caught, we would have all been sent back to Iran. My parents would have been I'm 99% sure they would have been hung for sure, right? So in order for us to still have some sort of life, they took every single penny that they sold, that they had, and they put it in between our jeans. They unsold the seam of our jeans, and they stuffed or like their jewelry, all the money around our waist. We had no idea, of course, right? So we're climbing mountains with like a bunch of cash in our in our pants, and we had no idea. All of our most of my mom's jewelry was stuffed in the back of. My dad took toothpaste, right, and undid the bottom, opened it, and stuffed all the jewelry inside the bottom of the toothpaste and closed it back up, just in case, you know, we get caught. You know, they're not gonna check the toothpaste. It's very rare. So yeah, that's kind of a story about how we got into Canada. And well, we were in Turkey for about a year, and our family, my uncle and my aunt, who actually passed away, they were already in Canada, and they sponsored us along with my aunt, my uncle's ex-in-laws. And there was a Canadian family who sponsored us to come to Canada.
So when you made it to Turkey, right? So how's life there? How was that?
Life in Turkey was life in Turkey. It's not like right now where there's bombs or anything like that. It was actually pretty chill. I mean, we didn't know much, right? We were kids. We played a lot of soccer. We actually, me and my brother, we were so young, we ended up having a lot of Turkish friends. And we ended up speaking fluent Turkish. And every time my parents needed translation at like the immigration office or whatnot, we just translate for them into Farsi and Turkish, right? But when we came to Canada, we didn't have any Turkish friends, so we forgot Turkish. Unfortunate, but life in Turkey was, I mean, every day we had to go to the immigration and sign papers that we're still in Turkey, that we haven't escaped Turkey as well. So basically how it works is you go there, you present your case, you say, hey, we're Baha'is, we're discriminated against in Iran, and you know, we had family members in jail, and our kids can't really have a future in Iran, so we want to leave, and we're here. So it's basically up to the United Nations to decide if this case is a solid case, and which ours was, and they kept us as refugees, I guess, and then we got sponsored and we came to Canada. Yeah.
The whole story, or just, I mean, I'm sure you guys that's something that stays with you for the rest of your life. You're reflecting back, and it's now that even that transition to Canada, right? You went from Iran, Turkey, you had to adapt, and then now we're in Canada, right? So how did that go? How was that transition from Turkey to Canada? It was first, where did you come straight? Was it Chilliwack or? Yeah.
Yeah, my uncle lived in Chilliwack, so my dad is like, we're going to Chilliwack. Lucky, because I can't stand Vancouver. I like the small town. We came from a very small town, like a village in Iran, so we're like farm town boys, really. And so Chilliwack is a farm town. And we came to Chilliwack 1996, actually about 14 days ago, I guess. We celebrated our 20-year anniversary in Canada, which is really cool, right? And I've spent all my life, really, the majority of my life here in Canada. But yeah, coming to Canada was a trip and a half. You know, we're thinking, yeah, we're going to this. Now at this point, we're aware that, hey, we're not going back to Iran.
Yeah.
We're going to Canada. We're going to go see Uncle, right? And this place is free. You can do whatever you want. And so we come to Canada and we don't speak English. We go to school, and my brother's name is Anis. So you can
Yeah, look at this. Imagine. Not speaking English.
Because I mean, the story is actually kind of funny because he explains it This guy came up to him and said, "What's your name?" He says, "Anis." He says, "Anis?" He goes, "No, Anis." He goes, "Anis." Yeah, whatever. Right? That's what he said. So ever since then, they just call him Anis. Poor guy had to change his name to something else. So he doesn't, like, he fought way more than I did.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we got picked on by the Canadian kids. We got picked on by the natives. We got picked on by everybody. Mind you, they were picking on each other too, right? It was like a war. It was a war zone, really. Like high school, it was crazy. Always fighting. I remember I think in middle school, I got 28 in-school suspensions. So that means I come to school, I go sit in the principal's office, the bell rings, I sit there. The bell rings at the end of the day, I go home. And I got suspended, I don't know, 6, 7 times. My parents were just fed up with me, right? Like I was constantly fighting, but they don't really know why I'm fighting. Like I had to really stand up for myself, right? It's something I had to do. It's like, you get picked on, right?
Yeah.
If you get picked on, it's like, what do you do? Like, and I'm a very competitive kid, right? And it's like, I'm gonna smack you. Like, you can't try to smack me. I'm gonna smack you right back. Ever since I was like this big, my mom tells me my brother was getting picked on in school and around, and like they went to the school to talk to the principal. And as soon as we got into the school, I took my hands off my mom. I was like, "Come on, bro, who did this? Let's go whoop his ass." Right? That's ever since I was this big, I was just trying to fight people.
You're a born fighter.
Born fighter.
Yeah. So did that get better, or I mean, throughout high school, or was it just like that the whole way through, or?
No,
it's just
it got better, right?
Yeah.
It has to. It's bound to get better, right? And again, it's 2016 and racism's still going on, but that's a different story. It got better because I had a group of friends. You know, I was really tiny, so I found a group that I fit in. They were all tiny. We were like tiny kids, but we scrapped. We just scrapped. Like, anybody who messed with us, we just fight. And so I fit in. So I had a group of people who had my back. So I wasn't alone. You know, I wasn't getting picked on as much. You know, I spoke English then.
Yeah.
So everything got better after that.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for watching today's episode. What an amazing story that Sabah Fadai shared with us. Thank you for spilling your beans, Sabah. Local athlete, Chilliwack. He has a lot going for him. Who knows if we're going to hit the big stage soon, UFC, wherever you get to. But support your local athletes. Is there any way they could reach you, Sabah, or Facebook, Twitter, anything?
Yeah, I have all my social media stuff, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You know, Sabah Fadai is the name. If you got that spelling right, then you'll find me everywhere. I'm like one of the only, I think I'm the only Sabah Fadai out there. So
make sure you check them out. Thank you.
Location and studio provided by Sip Chai Cafe. Located in West Abbotsford, your locally owned and operated cafe.